Happy Sunday, everybody. It's football time. We got a lot of games on today. We have 14 games. 14 games. 10 of them at noon. 3 at 3 o'clock, and obviously your Sunday night game. Here's a quick look at the early games and the late games we got going on, as well as the Monday Night Football game tomorrow. But we're going to talk about a little bit of everything today. And obviously we're going to talk about mainly Chiefs, Chargers. That's my team. That's why you're probably here. We'll talk about the injuries on both sides. We'll talk about the latest news, my pick. We all know who's going to win. Talk about some other late news around the league. Some signings, some different things that have happened this week. And we'll talk about the game on Thursday night. It's always good to have football back, especially in 2020. It's good to have sports in general, but you know, God, Cleveland and Cincinnati. It's Cleveland and Cincinnati, man. I mean, we got the good games today. That's all I gotta say. As far as the games go, though, we'll go right into that Thursday night recap. Cleveland takes out Cincinnati by a score of 35-30. Baker Mayfield had himself a decent game. 16 for 23, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. I think the Browns, in my opinion, were really carried by their running backs, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Chubb with 22 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt with 10 carries, 86 yards, another touchdown, but he also had 2 catches for a touchdown. 2 catches, 1 touchdown, I should say. Huge for the Browns to get that production out of their running backs. They need it. Baker Mayfield can't do it all. He's shown, I mean, Baker Mayfield, I think, still has potential to be a good quarterback in the league, but he's going to have to pick it up. And I think this game is a good game. It helps him out, but it's still the Bengals, and it's something where he's going to have to continue to prove it against better teams. They're going to have to start winning games, or else the Browns are really going to be looking for another quarterback. But good for him. Good game by Baker Mayfield. OBJ, 4 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown himself. Over on the Bengals side, not a bad game for them either. Joe Burrow, much better game than he had in Week 1. He had a lot of flashes in Week 1, I'm not going to lie. A really good drive to get him down the field in Week 1 to potentially tie the game against San Diego. Potentially tie the game against the LA Chargers. Kicker gets hurt, missed the field goal, whatever happens. But in this game, Joe Burrow, 37 for 61. I remember when I saw that, I was like, Jesus Christ, 61 passes. But I mean, it's what happens when you're down like that. And they were scoring points. They put up 30. They were within 5, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns for Joe Burrow. Not bad for his second game at all. Joe Mixon on the ground, 16 carries, 46 yards. That's obviously not ideal, under 3 yards per carry. Bengals offensive line, though, I mean, that's going to be what really kills the team this year, and hopefully Joe Burrow stays healthy, because Joe Burrow clearly has a lot of talent, but if he gets murdered behind that offensive line this year, you never know what's going to happen. So, overall, I like what I saw out of the Bengals, to be honest. I think this is a game the Browns should have won. I think the Browns probably should have won by more, and I don't know. I think the Browns are just going to underperform again this year, just what it seems like so far. Things are looking bright for the Bengals, though. Joe Burrow, I think they got a good one in Joe Burrow. I'll say that. Before we get into any picks, though, we probably need to know who's in and who's out around the league. So I put together a list of the most notable injuries, mostly skill positions, basically for fantasy purposes, just to make sure that everybody's got your lineup set. At this point, if you're watching at 10 a.m. on Sunday, you probably should have your lineup set already, but just in case, we'll go through it. For the Chiefs, Alex Okafor, Colin Saunders on the defensive line are both out. Okafor with the hamstring, Saunders with the elbow. Javarius Ward with the hand injury. He did have a fractured hand. He is out for about a month. That's going to really hurt. It's going to be L'Jarius Sneed and Rashad Fenton starting on the cornerbacks for Kansas City today. I'm not too worried, though. I think we got the offense, we got the rest of the defense. L'Jarius Sneed with a great first game, a great debut out there. With Tyrann Mathieu out there, we're gonna be all right. Major blow for San Diego as well, though. Justin Jackson is out. They will still have obviously Austin Eckler out there. They'll have other guys. They've got good receivers. Tyrod Taylor in his second game with San Diego. We'll see how it goes for them. But I got the Chiefs by a lot. We'll get to my pick later, but you already know. I didn't have to. It's not like I'm spoiling anything. Around the league, other than that, Chris Godwin is out in concussion protocol. Michael Thomas is out. He's going to be out for several weeks. George Kittle also out. Alshon Jeffrey out. Phillip Lindsay, Michael Thomas, and Dee Ford all out today. So that's really going to affect some fantasy lineups, I'm sure. Phillip Lindsay, a pretty major one in Denver, but I did forget, obviously Denver has Melvin Gordon now, so that'll really help them. They should be okay. Melvin Gordon didn't have a bad game in week 1, so we'll see probably extended action for him. Maybe it's a good fantasy pickup. If you got him on your bench, might be worth it to start him today. As far as latest news around the league, the most recent extension contract talks have come out of Chicago, where Allen Robinson, in a Zoom meeting with Chicago media, said he does intend to be with the Bears for this season. This comes after Allen Robinson took all of his Bears-related stuff off of his social media. They've been pretty far apart in the contract talks thus far, and his teammates have been pretty vocal. They want him to get re-signed. They want him out there, but it seems like they're pretty far apart, and rumors have been out there that either he or his agent have requested a trade at some point this week, but it sounds like Allen Robinson will be in Chicago for the remainder of this year. We'll see if those sides can work together and get something done. Clearly, his teammates want him there. I don't know how much he wants to be there anymore. You know, there's always going to be animosity whenever teams are that far apart. He says he feels disrespected. If he wants more money, he's going to have to get it. 12 hours ago, speaking of Chicago, Tariq Cohen signed a 3-year extension worth about $17.25 million. Tariq Cohen has always been a small part, yet integral part of the Chicago Bears offense. I will tell you, he's not worth a 4th-round pick in fantasy football. I made that mistake last year, thinking he was going to be much better than he was. Good for the Bears offense. Don't take him in fantasy, at least not that high. Good for him, though. He gets paid. Last week, obviously, had a couple other running backs. Alvin Kamara of the Saints, Dalvin Cook of the Vikings. Dalvin Cook got paid, I tell you what. All those guys getting contracts. Deshaun Watson, that's old news, though. We don't even need to go over that. Deshaun Watson got paid as well. And it'll be interesting to see as contract situations go on, how it goes the rest of the year. Without further ado, let's get straight into some picks. I'm just going to go right into the early games. We got the Jaguars at the Titans. Both teams coming off a week 1 win. The Jaguars upsetting the Colts. And the Titans coming off of a last-second win against Denver. Gotskowski with the game-winning field goal, despite missing 3 field goals and an extra point earlier in the game. Titans squeak by. I got to take the Titans in this one. The Titans didn't look too good in week 1, but the Jaguars definitely overperformed and probably shouldn't have beat the Colts. They did. I got the Titans bouncing back, getting into the rhythm of things, and I think the Titans are going to win this one pretty handily. Let's say 34-20. How about 34-20? Next up, you've got a couple of 0-1 teams. The Panthers coming off a loss to the Raiders in week 1. The Bucks coming off a loss to the Saints. I got Tom Brady winning his first one here. I'm a big fan of the Panthers. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I hate Tom Brady, but the Patriots have too much talent on that team, on that roster around Brady, that even if he doesn't play as well as he has the last 4 or 5 games dating back to last year, the Buccaneers, are a better team, and I think they win this one 28-20. Pittsburgh host the Denver Broncos at noon as well. Pittsburgh, I think, looks really good. Denver did not look so great against the Titans. That was a pretty ugly game that we just talked about. Give me Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh to make some noise this year, maybe go to the wild card. Pittsburgh 34, Broncos 28. Eagles-Rams. The Rams coming off a week 1 win on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys. The Eagles lost to the Washington football team in week 1, 27-17, despite having a 17-0 lead at half. I'm going to take the Rams in this one. The Rams look a lot better than I thought they would, particularly on the defensive side of the ball in week 1, and the Eagles have been very inconsistent on the offensive side. Alshon Jeffrey is going to be out for this game. Carson Wentz is so up and down. I'm going to take the Rams to improve to 2-0 and maybe look at making a division out there with the Niners and the Seahawks even tougher this year. Niners at Jets. The 49ers got upset by the Arizona Cardinals in week 1. The Jets are one of the worst 3 teams in football. Give me the Niners by 3 touchdowns. Bills at Dolphins. The Bills are coming off a week 1 win against those garbage-ass Jets. The Dolphins are coming off a week 1 loss to the New England Patriots. Ryan Fitzpatrick threw 3 interceptions in those games. He will be starting week 2. We'll see how long it takes until Tua comes in there. Until then, I am not picking the Dolphins to win, and I am not watching any Dolphins games because they're bad. Give me the Bills by 2 touchdowns. Vikings at Colts. The Colts obviously coming off that loss to the Jaguars where nobody really expected them to lose that. The Vikings are coming off a loss to the Packers, but the Packers I think look really, really good, potentially a top 2 team in the NFC. I got the Vikings, in this. Give me the Vikings by 3. I think the Colts are better than they showed in week 1, but I think the Vikings are definitely a better team. We'll give the Vikings 24-21. Speaking of the Packers coming off that dominating win against Minnesota, They host the Lions. The Lions are coming off of a bit of a choke job in week 1. They had a big lead into the fourth quarter against Chicago, and they let Mitch Trubisky, of all quarterbacks, put together and let me be clear. I respect Mitch Trubisky for that comeback. He had a hell of a fourth quarter, a really good game, and if he can put it together and be good again this year, I would love to see it. But Mitch Trubisky's been the butt of a lot of jokes, and deservedly so. I guess not necessarily deservedly so. He didn't draft himself ahead of Deshaun Watson. He didn't draft himself ahead of Patrick Mahomes. That's on the Bears. But Mitch Trubisky's doing what he can with what he has, the talent he has in himself and around him. Good for him for that game. I will take the Packers, though, by a lot. The Lions, they looked decent in week 1. They blew the game. But the Packers, like I said, I think the Packers are a really good team. I think Aaron Rodgers is motivated this year, on top of the other motivation that he would have had with the whole Jordan Love pick, with the rocky relationship that he and the Packers organization have had over the last few years. I got the Packers by 15. You got the Falcons coming off a week 1 loss. The Cowboys coming off that week 1 Sunday Night Football loss. I'll take the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are definitely a better team. Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, Amari Cooper. It's too much talent on that roster to be losing to teams like the Falcons. The Falcons are also up and down. The Falcons have talent, but they're just such a weird team. And in a division with the Saints and Buccaneers, the Falcons probably don't have a whole lot of playoff aspirations. Cowboys are at home, so I'll take the Cowboys 20-10, maybe a lower scoring game. The last game, we've got the Giants at the Bears. The Bears, like I said, coming off that comeback win. Giants are probably right there with the Jets in the bottom 3 of the NFL. I'll take the Bears again to start 2-0. I think that Trubisky has another good game. I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock into it yet. You know, it's the Lions, it's the Giants, but we'll take Trubisky in another good game, and we'll take the Bears to start 2-0, which, hey, that'll help them as far as their playoff aspirations. You know, the whole stats about teams that start 2-0. So moving over to the late games, however, we've got the Washington football team at the Arizona Cardinals. Both of these teams 1-0. Both of these teams coming off games where they probably shouldn't have won. Not a whole lot of people expected them to win, but here they are sitting at 1-0. And like I said, teams that start 2-0 have a really good shot of making the playoffs. So who wins this game? I got the Cardinals. Like I said, I'm really high on the Cardinals this year. I think the Cardinals have potential maybe to make a wild card. Obviously, they're in a real tough division, but Kyler Murray had a great game. DeAndre Hopkins obviously had a really good game in week 1. And Washington, I think, more benefited from the inconsistency of the Eagles rather than the talent and the good play of their own team. So give me the Cardinals in this one. And let's sit here, and before we get into all the other games, we're going to talk Chiefs-Chargers here. The Kansas City Chiefs are 27-2 in their last 29 divisional games, dating back to 2013 or 2015. I'm not 100% sure. The only 2 games that they have lost in the division in these last couple years are the game that we're showing highlights of right now, this game that I was at, which I'm still a little upset about. Chargers, obviously, the 2-point conversion at the end of the game to win. It was back when the Chiefs defense couldn't stop anybody, so things have changed a lot. But those were both on Thursday nights, that game against the Chargers right here, and it was a game in Oakland where we had about 6 different penalties that gave the Raiders 6 chances from the 1-yard line, and they finally scored a touchdown. So Chiefs haven't lost a divisional game on a Sunday in probably 4 or 5 years, which is absolutely incredible. I do not expect it to end today. I think the Chiefs are too good. The Chargers with Tyrod Taylor, they've got talent on that roster, but it's going to be a quarterback. The Chiefs have such an advantage at quarterback. I think they've still got the advantage on defense despite missing 3 players on the defensive side. I've got the Chiefs by, goddamn, 20, 30. I said Chiefs by 30 in week 1. We let off the gas. We could have had the 30. I still stand by that. We could have had a 30-point win against Houston. Against the Chargers, I think we do win by 30. Give me the Chiefs 40, Chargers 7. Now, I don't know if this has been labeled the game of the week or not, but let's be honest. This is the game of the week. Baltimore at Houston. Houston coming off of that loss to the Chiefs, but you can't blame them. Chiefs are a way better team. Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. And Baltimore coming off of week 1, shellacking of the Cleveland Browns, who went out there and won in week 2. I'm going to have to take Baltimore in this one. Like I said, the Chiefs and the Ravens are the two best teams in the league. They really are. Houston's got some talent. Houston will probably win that division, but when it comes to coaching, when it comes to the quarterback, the Ravens have a slight edge at quarterback. The Ravens have a major edge in coaching. Ravens have the edge in defense. Ravens have the edge in running backs, including Lamar Jackson, obviously. Which sucks for the Texans because they are a good football team, but they're going to probably start 0-2, and it'll be tough to climb out of. But the Colts obviously having started 0-1, the Titans having barely squeaked by in that game. We'll see. Like I said, I think the Titans bounce back, but Texans really don't want to start 0-2. We'll see what they do in week 2, see if they pull out all the stops and try and really gun for that win. But I got Baltimore in that one. The Sunday night game, a rematch of one of the most exciting Super Bowls ever. The Patriots take on the Seahawks. Obviously, both teams look a lot different than they did back then. Most notably, Cam Newton starting at quarterback for the Patriots. I love Cam Newton. I feel weird rooting for the Patriots because I really was rooting for him week 1. I'm not a fan of the Seahawks. I'll probably be rooting for the Patriots again here in week 2, but I believe the Seahawks are going to win this game. They've got too much talent. Russell Wilson is a much... He's a better quarterback than Cam Newton. I mean, Cam Newton's good, but he's not what he used to be, and Russell Wilson just continues to put that team on his back. The Seahawks put up a lot of points in week 1, too, which is good. It's nice to see for a team that I've always felt like kind of just puts the load on Russell Wilson and just makes him go out there and earn everything for him. So good for Seattle for that. I think Seattle wins. I think it'll be a pretty good game, though. You know, Bill Belichick's always going to have those guys ready to play. Bill Belichick will pull out all the stops, like you say, legally and illegally. But give me the Seahawks in this one. And then the last game of the week, Monday Night Football. Saints at Raiders. Both of these teams are 1-0 as well. Saints coming off of that win against Tom Brady and the Bucs. Raiders coming off a win against the Saints division rival, the Carolina Panthers. I've got the Saints. Like I said, the Saints are one of the best teams in the NFC. The Raiders are only going to go as far as Derek Carr takes them. And I think on primetime, Derek Carr is going to... excuse my French, shit the bed. I think Derek Carr has a terrible game. I think it'll probably start hearing some rumblings about Marcus Mariota out in Oakland, despite what he did in week 1. I am not a fan of Derek Carr. I think he's progressively gotten worse since his Rookie of the Year campaign, and I think the Saints take it pretty easily. Before we get out of here, for you betting nerds, for you betting gambling addicts, for you casual bettors, for you people like me who always say are going to put some money on a game and never do, we'll take a look at the odds. We'll take a look at the lines. Eagles are a 1.5 point favorite at the Rams. At home against the Rams. That gives honestly, the Rams a little bit of an advantage. Normally, home teams get about 3 points. Probably a little different this year considering there's no fans. There's maybe a little bit less of a home field advantage, but I like the Rams in that one. I'll take the Rams. As far as the over, I'll take the under on that one. With those offenses, I think the Eagles are so inconsistent. The Rams have not quite lived up to that offense they had, a couple years ago. We all remember that Chiefs-Rams Monday night game. That was just absolutely incredible, 54-51. But I'll take the under on that. Giants at Bears. The Bears are 5.5 point favorites. I'll take the Bears to cover. Falcons at Cowboys. Cowboys 3.5 point favorites. I'll take them to cover in that one. Niners at Jets. Niners are 7 point favorites. I'll take them to cover. Panthers at Buccaneers. Bucks are 8.5 point favorites. Now, I will actually take the Panthers on this one. I know I picked the Bucks in the game, but I don't know. Until I see Tom Brady go out there and have a good game again, I don't know if he's ever going to have a good game again. And maybe I'm overreacting. I know there's a lot of history with Tom Brady, but Father Time is undefeated. And he's doing a number on Tom Brady recently. So give me the Panthers, not to win the game, but I don't think the Bucs cover the spread there. Lions at Packers. Packers are 6 point favorites. I think the Packers are really strong. I think the Packers cover that for sure. Bills at Dolphins. Bills are 5.5 point favorites. I'll take the Bills to cover that one against a team like Miami. Broncos at Steelers. Steelers are 7 point favorites. I'll take them to cover. I like the Broncos. I think they're an up-and-coming team, but I really like the Steelers too. Steelers will cover. Colts are 3 point favorites at home against the Vikings. I will definitely take the Vikings on that one. I think the Colts lose again for sure. I think the Vikings are a good team. The Vikings had a lot better performance than the Colts did, despite both teams losing in week 1. Jaguars at Titans. Titans are 7.5 point favorites. I think the Jaguars come back down to earth a little bit after that good week 1 win. I think the Titans cover for sure. Washington football team at Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are 7 point favorites. I picked the Cardinals to win, but I think I will take the team formerly known. Actually, can I even say that on the stream? Is that offensive now? I'll take the Washington football team to lose by less than 7, I guess. Chiefs at Chargers. Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites despite being on the road. I got the Chiefs covering that. I think the Chiefs win by 30. Ravens at Texans. The Ravens are 7-point favorites in Houston. Now, this is one of those lines that I think is definitely affected by the lack of a home field advantage, because I think normally Houston, I mean, they're not a bad team. I know they lost by 14 in week 1, but it was against the Chiefs. You know, this was a team that made the playoffs last year. They're not bad, and it's interesting to see them. Underdogs by that much, I guess, in a week 2 game. Patriots at Seahawks. Seahawks are 4-point favorites at home. I think the Seahawks will cover that. I think the Seahawks are really strong. I think the Patriots, I mean, only 21 points against the Dolphins in week 1. I think the Patriots are good. I think they're well coached. Maybe they were holding some back, knowing who they were playing in week 1, knowing who they were going to be playing in week 2. Maybe we'll see a lot more out of the Patriots, but I think the Seahawks win by more than 4. And on the Monday night game, the Vegas Raiders hosting the New Orleans Saints, first game in that new Toilet Bowl stadium. Saints are 5.5-point favorites on the road. I'll take the Saints to cover. I think the Raiders crash back down to earth. They only beat the Panthers in week 1. It's not like they beat a super good team. But yeah, give me the Saints. And that'll do it. You guys, thank you for watching. This was a quick one. Enjoy football today. Be safe. Don't drink and drive wherever you're at. And we'll see you on Tuesday to wrap this all up. Alec will be back then. We had some scheduling issues this week and we weren't able to get on together. But thanks for coming out, checking out the picks. We'll be back on Tuesday to wrap it all up, talk about week 2, see what all happened. Have a good one. Later. Bye. Go Chiefs!